Okay, so I believe this segment happened today. I can't really see the date. When I did the last Lamar Jackson video, I believe it was the last one. When I did that video, I commented on how coming into the draft, Lamar Jackson was criticized, or, you know, he was, to some people's viewpoint, he was critically judged for his ability to play the quarterback position. And I think because he's a black quarterback and we live in an ultra sensitive time now, I think that people are over glorifying this guy. Heaping too much praise on his season. I'm not saying Lamar Jackson didn't have a great year, but there are plenty of players in the league this year that had great seasons that we are not talking about. Like Christian McCaffrey, I believe Chandler Jones had a career year. There was another player, I believe that Nick Bosa had a great year this year. I'm trying to think of some more people. I mean, there's just plenty of players that had great seasons this year. But because of how people feel about Lamar Jackson, it's like, if you're not glorifying or praising this guy, you're considered a hater. Well, what they're about to call people are non-believers. Like, this dude is Christ or something. Like, you're a non-believer. You don't believe in him. You don't believe in his ability, I guess. Anytime you have any sort of criticism, is always looked at as you're a hater. I don't know why. Like, unless you're fucking saying great things about somebody. It's almost that saying that, you used to hear as a kid, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all, that type of thing. And I feel like they're holding kid gloves. I mean, they're handling Lamar Jackson with kid gloves right now, where you need to keep this kid's confidence up by saying great things about him. And anybody that doesn't say great things about him are perceived as haters. And I don't like that. And it kind of makes me be critical of this kid. So almost unintentionally, like, I don't want to be critical of him. If he does great things, I want to highlight the great things. If he does questionable things, I want to highlight the questionable things, and I not have to worry about whether or not I'm. Sorry about that little disruption. But yeah, I mean, like, using words like non-believers, like, I'm sorry, I was laughing and then I just started getting a little bit too into it. I don't believe I've ever heard anybody say non-believers in referring to a player of any kind. Of any kind. I've never seen it. I've never seen anybody say, well, oh, you don't like that player? Oh, you're just a non-believer. Like, what the fuck? Okay. But Greg Roman, who was I think he was the offensive coordinator for the 49ers. That was the last time I heard about Greg Roman. I mean, I haven't really heard him make too much noise recently. From what I understand, somebody said that he was in Kansas City, but I got to look that up for myself. But the job that he did in San Francisco was pretty decent. I think he was there when Kaepernick was there, and we all remember the hype around Kaepernick when Kaepernick got going. Once Alex Smith got hurt and then they threw Kaepernick in there, I mean, he pretty much took over the fucking NFL. And they were looking at Kaepernick like he was the future. And we've seen this with players in the past. Michael Vick, Kaepernick. They don't really discuss Russell Wilson on that level, but, there are other players. And right now it's Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. But let's get this started.
All right, Marcellus, I'll start with you. Yeah. Way Roman's being treated, is it proof that the league is skeptical of the Ravens' high-powered offense?
That was timely right there, because that's how I feel. I'm kind of like, I'm a lean yes, and I'm a say yes, but a little fence riding right here for me. Look, if you're Greg Roman in this situation, you're 47 years young. time is on your side in terms of your coaching aspirations and promotion to being a head coach. If I'm sitting there right now as Greg Roman is, I'm going to let this bake. I'm staying still when I'm talking about Lamar Jackson in his first year in my offense already have an MVP. And then going forward, I think that the league...
Look at this shit. All right. I already have a very, very limited opinion about the approval rating that they do on this show. For real. Because I don't think it really does justice to a player in either the positives about them or the negatives about them. I don't think this really does anybody any justice. All right, you have a job performance right here. I mean, and it's hard to tell. Like, is this just for this season, or are you talking about over the course of his NFL career so far and potentially in the future? Because you got an all-time status of 22 out of 25 for Lamar Jackson. You have a 22 all-time status, which would make me think you believe this dude is a borderline Hall of Famer in only his second season. Borderline Hall of Famer. 22. You have his authenticity at 25. You have his character at 25. You have his job performance at 25. This is the highest I've ever seen for a player. This might be the highest I've ever seen for a player or coach. This is just look. This is what I'm talking about. Like, just the unbelievable over-exaggeration that people are going to, the length people are going to fucking praise this kid. It's kind of annoying now. So, I don't know. I don't know about this.
Is sitting there skeptical, why I'm saying yes, of how long can you sustain this level of success and what is it going to materialize into. Super Bowl championship will make this a copycat offense around the league. Right now, it is just the flavor of the month, and everyone's trying to figure out what to do with that. But I remind everyone to go into your history books and let's look up Bill Walsh in his first year. What was his record? In the new West Coast style offense that took over the league. What was his first year record? 2 wins. What was the second year record? 6 wins. And then what had happened was...
What had happened was he finally got fucking players that fit well in that system. Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Roger Craig, all those Hall of Famers on that team. He finally got players that could fucking do the system some justice. That's why he struggled at first, but then he was able to turn it around.
That'll start coming. My point is, you have to stay patient with this offense, even if the skeptics are right this year. What if they lose this year? Point being, be patient with this offense. And if I'm Greg Roman, I sit still and let my MVP bake.
Yeah, I think they're skeptical about being able to find the talent. I think you alluded to it and touched on it in your Whitlock, where you're looking at a guy like Lamar Jackson who can execute the style of offense that Greg Roman architects for that team. So when you look at the teams out here that have looked for new coaching staffs, Dallas, Dak does not have the skill sets of Lamar Jackson. Washington, Haskins doesn't have it. Carolina, Cam is old. But do you draft? Is there someone in the draft? Giants, Browns, Daniel Jones, Mayfield, and Cleveland. You don't have the type of player at that position to say, we're going to put our money and let our money ride on Greg Roman to be the head coach of our team. Now, if you're...
Lamar Jackson is unbelievable. I'm not even going to say unbelievable because I compared him to Vic. They are similar. Okay? But I'm going to say this. His uncanny ability to run the ball is why you can't... It's going to be hard to replicate this anywhere else. It's going to be hard. Kaepernick's ability to run the ball. It's going to be hard to replicate this system just anywhere. This is why certain systems are not you are not able to mimic. You're not able to copycat anything because most systems, if not all systems, they need a particular type of player. Like if you play Madden, all right, and if you go to the coaching menu and you look up schemes, And you see how you can switch between schemes, like on offense, the West Coast, the power run, vertical run, shit like that. And when you look down at the list of fucking positions, and they have a certain type of player you need in those positions, and the meter on how well the quarterback you have fits this, like that's usually how, like that's really how it is. You need, for certain systems, you need certain kinds of players. This is why you just can't throw like a fucking, this is why you can't throw like a Aaron Rodgers in New England and just expect it to work. Like the way Aaron Rodgers is a very impatient quarterback. He's the kind of guy that will run, or he'll get the ball out really quickly. He'll throw it to whoever he deems is the perfect guy to throw to. And when it comes to New England's system, they are very patient. It's about timing. It's about waiting for the right moment, waiting for your receiver to get open. Like taking that versus how Aaron Rodgers plays. Aaron Rodgers plays a very high octane style of offense where they're taking shots downfield constantly. But in New England's offense, you have to use the tight ends, the running backs, in very short yardage situations. Is like that type of thing. Like you just can't throw a player into a system and expect it to work. Sometimes it has to take a player a little bit to get used to the way the system is before they're able to see results. Until you're able to see results, sometimes it takes time. And Lamar Jackson is a phenomenal athlete, and I don't think there's anybody, even in the draft coming up, that can replicate his ability to run the ball. This is what's keeping it from being a copycat thing. So the best thing for the league to do is, since you can't replicate it, you have to stop it. You got to figure out how to stop it.
In the future, and you're looking at possibilities. Justin Fields, amazing, can throw the ball, great IQ, can run like a Lamar Jackson. There are a few guys out there, Kelly Bryant in Missouri, Bryce Perkins at UVA, great talents at that quarterback's position. But am I going to hire you as a head coach this year with this guy that we drafted as our quarterback, and see if we can ride it out with him, or are we going to go in a different direction? I think that's what makes you skeptical of it, is do you have the guys that have the skill set and the caliber to actually be able to run that offense?
Before you go, Eric, the only thing I would say the NFL owners are stupid then. Because at the very least, I would bring Greg Roman in and pick his brain and figure out what it is he's doing and why he's being able to go two different places and take two quarterbacks and boom. I'd want to talk to the guy.
Golly, why you took almost all my stuff. I'm looking up, I'm like, I can't got nothing to say.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's all right. You did the right thing.
You the GOAT. You got more than that.
Yeah, right. You know.
Give me some yards.
You look at what Greg Roman has done. He's taken Kaepernick and Lamar Jackson. It's hard to find those kind of guys. I mean, in the National Football League, when I came in the league, and even after, and you too, the running quarterback was not popular. They didn't want that quarterback. Even Randall Cunningham, my friend Randall, he would say, they're trying to change me. They don't want me to run the football. But now it's popular. It's because, when you're winning, everything changes. And Greg Roman, he knows how to win, but I'm like you are saying is
the reason Randall Cunningham was like, this is the reason why they wanted pocket passers back then, because scrambling the ball is such an unnecessary risk sometimes. Sometimes it's best for you to just sit in the pocket and deliver it downfield. It's easier to move the ball if you're throwing it than fucking running it. Like, it's so much easier. It's so much more efficient. And it helps the offensive line out. The one thing that people don't fucking take into consideration when it comes to a scrambling quarterback is the effect it has on the offensive line and their ability to do their job the right way. Sometimes it's easier to just stay in the pocket and allow them to protect you. I mean, I don't know. And sometimes it's easier for the other positions on the field as well, because if you're a wide receiver running downfield trying to get open and you look back during during a cut or something, and you're looking and you see your quarterback fucking running all over the place. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm not a traditionalist. I'm not a guy who by nature would say quarterback's supposed to be in the pocket and they're supposed to pass and all this other stuff. Look, if what Lamar Jackson is doing is working for him and working for the players that play with him, great. Like, don't change anything as long as it's working. But these kind of things does have a negative effect on the people around him. It's kind of like Russell Westbrook when he's doing everything that he's fucking doing, like when he was in OKC. I mean, and the players say, "Oh, but we have no problem with it. Russell was out here doing his thing." I'm pretty sure they don't like having shots taken away from them. I'm pretty sure the big man doesn't like having rebounds taken away from them. I'm pretty sure the point guard, but no, he is the point guard. Sorry. But I'm pretty sure, like, the ball movement and the division of labor kind of sucks because, like when you get the ball in your hands playing with Westbrook, you have to shoot. There's really no dribbling. You have to get the ball out your fucking hands. I mean, it gets to a point where you got to be grateful that he passes you the ball at all. So, I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of negative effects with playing with a guy of this caliber. And that's not his fault. It's just the way that he plays the game. But, I don't know, man. Someone's got to give. But the point I was trying to make when I started all this is, like, back in the day, you had to play your position. Running backs will run, receivers would catch, tight ends will block/catch, that type of thing. Fullbacks will block for the running backs, stuff like that. And then when Vic came into the league, I mean, that pretty much opened up a whole can of worms with the whole scrambling quarterback thing. And it was like the league realized this could be a major fucking attraction. I'm talking money, endorsements, ridiculous. With a guy like Vic, he brought in a new generation of fans. He brought in a new generation of people to watch him play because he is entertainment. And this is why they're trying to open up the league more to the offenses, because they need that entertainment value, because they want people. Because the normal casual fan that doesn't watch football very often, only probably watch the playoffs or the Super Bowl, they're not going to sit there through a game where it's a defensive battle. They're not going to sit through that kind of game. They want to sit in a game where, both teams got about 60 points and it's about 2,000 yards worth of offense in the fucking game. with like 6 overtimes of nonstop passing. Like, that's what they want to sit through. That's what they want to sit through shit like that. So, opening up the league more offensively, allowing for more opportunities to score, it brings in the fans, which brings in the money, which brings in the interest. I don't know. That's just that's where it is right now, man. This is what I'm saying. I don't think Lamar Jackson is playing so unbelievably great that we should over-exaggerate. Because if Lamar Jackson, and I'm not saying that he couldn't play back then, but if Lamar Jackson played back when, like, Jack Tatum was a safety and Lamar Jackson decided he wanted to run and let one of them motherfuckers put their head on you, man, it won't be nice. And I think he's benefiting from the flimsy tackling rules that they have now. But, it's whatever.
Are we sure that we can run this kind of offense? Are we sure that we needed a Greg Roman? He's not the guy just yet, but would he become the guy? Yes, he is kind of young, 47 years old for a coach. They're going a lot of coaches younger now, but he's still in that era where he can most definitely get a job, and I think he'll be successful at it.
And the smart play is just to sit still. Let's also respect the two-way street of this opportunity. We're not certain that he's not telling his agent, the recruiters, that I'm fine right here. So don't even put the fillers out, because I'm going to build equity with this MVP I have in my first year. The numbers are just going to continue to inflate for coaching and what they're going to make. And then if he has the resume that he's building right now, beyond Kaepernick, I can duplicate this success. I can go somewhere else and replicate the success. It makes a lot of sense. The coaching opportunities usually come from bad teams because the NFL rewards failure. The draft is about the failing teams getting the best players. Coaching opportunities, other than Dallas, I would say, are about failed opportunities for other guys. They'll pounce on that. If I'm Greg Roman, I sit still.
All right, I understand what Marcellus is trying to say, but if the league rewards failure, what the fuck is the point in succeeding at all? What's the point in drafting the best players? What's the point in trying to pay some of the best players in free agency? What's the point? If the league rewards failure, what's the point in trying to fucking win? Okay? The league has to do things like this to kind of even out the league a little bit. Because those failing teams are so bad at what they do, they can't seem to build a fucking thriving organization. And to be honest, it's about the money. Oh shit, sorry. To be honest, it's about the money. Because that's where the real rewards come in. When you get those playoff checks, the Super Bowl publicity, you know, being able to recruit so many different fans to your organization. Those are the rewards that these teams want. And you can't get it when you're constantly in the fucking lottery every year. Not the lottery. When you're drafting 1 through 10 every fucking year. Like, you ask Cleveland, are they winning? Like, are the rewards they getting enough? Like, real shit. Like, so I understand what he's trying to say, bro, but there is no rewards in losing. So, I don't know, man.
And I robbed my MVP.
The reason I pointed directly to Carolina is because, to me, it just doesn't make sense for David Tepper not to bring Greg Roman in and consider him strongly. You have Cam Newton.
Yeah.
He would fit what they're doing. Maybe he's too old, and you got to move on from him. But to me, the Carolina Panthers should have taken a long look at Greg Roman, possible solution for Cam Newton, and possible if you want to go into the draft and develop.
I don't know if it wasn't reported or if it was reported or whatever. I don't know, but I will say this. Who say they didn't consider Greg Roman? You mean this dude put Colin Kaepernick in the public's eye with his offense, and now he's done the same thing with Lamar Jackson? You mean to tell me one team looking for a fucking head coach didn't consider this guy? Didn't properly call to inquire? I don't believe that. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying I don't believe it. I'm pretty sure somebody called asking about Greg Roman.
Another quarterback. And then just because, and again, I wouldn't ask Greg Roman to move off his strength, this style of offense. But to me, the way he's had success in 2 different organizations, I wouldn't place some kind of...
What is success? Did the whole Colin Kaepernick thing last in San Fran? It lasted, what, 2 seasons, if that? Is it going to last here? Most people are hoping it does. But is it going to last here? How many Super Bowls does Greg Roman have with this kind of offense? How is this playoff success? Like, these are good questions to ask. Like, is this sustainable? Is this something? And when I say sustainable, I mean, are you able to prolong this for long periods of time and being able to heap enormous results? That means playoff success. That means trips to the Super Bowl. That means fucking endorsements, getting exposure for your franchise. I mean, right now Baltimore is the hottest thing going because everybody's talking about them. But is this something? The only way that my even argument in this is going to be refuted is if Baltimore wins the Super Bowl this year. But if they don't, is this really sustainable? Is this something tangible that we could say, you know what, this shit works? This is the new formula. I don't know, man. I don't know. I would have to see, man.
On him that, this is the only style of offense or the only style of quarterback he could work with. This dude, I think, has a unique background that helps him connect with football players in a way that maybe some other coaches can't.
Carolina did not have a good enough year where they won't have a good draft pick. If you're looking at what he could do with older Cam Newton, you say, okay, we can try this and see what we can do, but maybe a Jalen Hurts falls to you in the draft. Maybe you're able to get...
I'm saying this now. I don't see Jalen Hurts being a top 10 pick. I'm not saying he won't be. I'm pretty sure if a team is able to move up and grab him, they will try. But the only quarterbacks, if Joe Burrow declared for the draft, I don't even remember seeing a report that said he was declaring, but I know Tua, Tyler, I know that guy. Fucking, I know he declared for the draft. I'm pretty sure if any quarterbacks go in the top 10, so Jalen Hurts most likely will drop to him. Drop to somebody. They will drop out of the top 10. I don't think he'll be a top 5 pick. He may be. I mean, a team may take a risk. Sometimes risk works. Sometimes they don't work. I mean, people are now questioning Baker Mayfield as the number 1 pick. So,
a hold of him, and maybe you're able to bring him in and architect that defense around the guy that has as high a football IQ as any pocket passing quarterback, but has the athletic ability to run the ball like a runner. It makes a ton of sense if that's the way you're looking at it. I would also add to that, when you're looking at Greg Roman, possibly people are looking at it. We always say there's the other side of it, the skeptics of it. Well, if you're looking at what was happening in his 49ers days, a lot of people would attribute the success in that run to the Super Bowl based off of their defense, right? Yeah. So you can say undisputably, even though there is a phenomenal defense that they have in Baltimore, you cannot debate the fact that Lamar Jackson is the reason why he's the catalyst of this team. You could do that in 49.
It's a legitimate point, but let's also remember there have been 2 quarterbacks, well, now 3 if you count Patrick Mahomes, but Greg Roman's been involved with 2 different quarterbacks that made people say, holy cow. Remember, Ron Jaworski was saying about Colin Kaepernick, and he had me right there with him, like, oh my God, this is going to be the greatest thing ever. Me too. And here he is, Greg Roman again with Lamar Jackson, and we all said, oh my God, this is the greatest thing we've ever seen. Yeah. That's a unique skill set for an offensive coordinator. It blows my mind that there's still some skepticism, but I think there is, and so that leads to the follow-up question.
I don't think the skepticism is Greg Roman's ability to build something like this. He's done it already. But I think the skepticism comes in, is this sustainable? Like, I keep saying that because it's an important question. See, New England wouldn't have been able to build that dynasty unless they had the right pieces, the right mindset to be able to sustain something like that. And you got to ask your question, like when Seattle was at the height of their run, you got to ask your question, is this sustainable? Is this something that can last? Even if Lamar Jackson goes off somewhere else or gets hurt and you plug somebody else in there, is this sustainable? Will we be able to get, if not the same results, somewhere close, ballparking it, somewhere close? I don't know, man, because I know the history of scrambling quarterbacks, and it doesn't always end well. And this is why I have questions about Lamar Jackson. I'm gonna stop this and start a part 2.